Welcome everybody to ITS 101, Computer Programming 1. For this week, we will be having a pre-recorded class instead of a live online class due to the unreliability of the internet connection here in my place. Though it's different from what we used to, the methods are going to be the same. This means there will be an assessment to evaluate your learning from this class through Google Form, which the link will be given to you by the end of this class. There's also an assignment to be complied, so make sure to watch, listen, and understand this class attentively. If you have any questions or clarifications regarding this class, let me know. I am Juleus, Publico, your instructor, and today we are going to get to know the programming language that we will learn throughout the semester. Let us learn the C++ basics. Okay, so if you have any questions or concerns, share it with the class. You can go to minty.com and use the code 2206301 or post your questions to the comment section once this class is uploaded to our Facebook group or on our respective Facebook chat groups. So let us begin by reviewing our learnings from the past lesson. Previously, we learned about the programming process. In the programming development lifecycle, the methodological way in developing a program, or PDLC, there are 5 phases in developing a robust and quality program. So these are defining the problem, which means understanding the root of the or the cause of understanding the root or the cause that leads to the problem to evaluate whether a competing solution is appropriate and more effective solution to the problem. Second is planning the solution. It is making use of the planning tools to plan how the program is going to work on solving the problem. The planning tools are the algorithm and flowchart. And in fact, we've had our assignment as to creating an algorithm. And then coding the program. This is translating the solution gathered from planning phase into a machine code or using the programming language. And then testing the program. This is to evaluate the program if it worked properly and according to how it should work. There are 3 ways in testing a program. That's checking, translating, and debugging. Lastly, documenting the program. The last phase is to prepare a narrative report containing all the necessary information about the program. Now, this could include the research results, planning tools, source codes, and testing result. Now, if you want to review the lesson, you can use the link provided to you on the screen right now, or click the image on this presentation material as soon as it's uploaded after this class. So for today, we will learn the C++ basics, particularly what is C++, C++ installation, your first C++ program, and then lastly, C++ output. So before we start, take a look at this picture shown. There are 3 things wrong in this picture. Find them. Okay? Now comment your answers on the post in our Facebook group. The first 5 people to comment the right answers will be given extra credit for the learning activity. Okay, try to take a look. There are 3 things wrong in this picture. Again, write them down or comment your answers down to the Facebook post. And then the first 5 people who can give the right answers will be given extra credits. Right. So let us begin by understanding or by learning or getting to know C++. So C++ is a popular cross-platform language that can be used to create simple programs to high-performance applications like operating systems, browsers, video games, art applications, and so on. C++ was developed by John Strostrup. Apologies for maybe I've said it wrong. In 1979 at Bell Labs, C++ is largely based on the C programming language. In fact, the reason why it's called C++, it's because the plus plus icon, or the plus plus, is an identifier that means adding or increase of value. Okay, you will know more about increment values soon as you go along with this class. So, uses of C++. C++ programming language is capable of developing diverse types of secure, efficient, and reliable applications like computer games, web clients and server applications, device drivers, embedded systems, and many more. So although C++, this is the programming language that we will learn for this class because it offers the basic, or the easiest, the easiest concept when it comes to learning programming. However, it may be the easiest programming language to learn. It is capable of developing diverse types of secure and reliable applications. Okay? Alright. To get started, this is C++ installation. You need to download an integrated development environment, or IDE, and a C++ compiler. So I've asked you, from our previous classes, I've asked you to download the IDE for Windows and smartphones. So basically, there are no limits as to what device are we going to use for programming. If you have computers, if you have laptops, you can, obviously that would be the easier way to write a program. But if you have a smartphone, you can also use smartphones. Now, today, since I'll be using PC, throughout this class, we'll be using Dev C++. It's developed by Bloodshed, a free, portable, and simple C++ IDE with a built-in compiler. For smartphone users, we'll also use CXX Droid. It's free to download. Just go to Google Play Store, search for CXX Droid. Once installed, you may start working on your very first C++ program. Okay, so from this point and on, we'll be using, or we are going to try to write a program, or we're going to discuss our lesson about C++ using Dev C++ and a CXX Droid. I have here my phone ready, and then let's get started. So to start writing a program, you have to start by creating a new project. This is using Dev C++. Go to File, New, Project, then select Console Application under the Basic tab. Click the C++ project button, enter the project name, and click OK. You will be prompted to select where you want to save the project. Once set, click Save. You can now begin working on your very first C++ program. So let's see how it's going to work. So let's open up Dev C++. Please hold on. Okay, so basically this is C++ and this is how it's supposed to look like. So again, to get started, click on File, then hover to the New, and then Project. Again, File, New, Project. And then you'll be routed with the dialog that will ask for further information, or further information about what program are you going to create. So of course, under Basic, we will select Console Application. Okay, under Basic, click Console Application. Make sure C++ Project is also selected, and then enter the project name. Okay, so let's just say let's enter the project name. Let us say hello. Okay, and then okay. Now, after that, you will be asked where to save your file or your project. So I'm just gonna put it right here, but you can always choose. You can always navigate to the location where you want it to save. In my case, I've already created a folder that names C++ files, and I'm just gonna save it right there. Copy the same file name and then click save. All right, so you can now start writing your program. So for Dev C++, some of the functions are already preloaded as soon as you start creating a program. However, we're going to erase all of it because we want it to start from the very beginning. Okay. So, however, that is for Dev C++. So let's try to learn how to start writing a program using our phones. So I've already connected my phone, my laptop. Should be able to see it right now. Hold on. For some reason, it got disconnected. Please stay on the line. Okay. All right. So I've already installed the CXX Droid in my phone here in programming. Again, make sure to download it from Play Store. It's free to download. So CXX Droid. Okay. So the moment that you open up CXX Droid, you'll be routed to a screen that will allow you to write the program right away. Okay. However, for easier navigation and easier compiling and managing your program, we have to save a file first. Okay. To do that, just press the folder icon at the top right corner, which is this, and then save as. Now, navigate through the location where you want it to save on your phone. In my case, I'm just going to select last opened. And then, once you're already on the location where you want it to save, tap select folder at the top, and then enter the file name. For example, let's say file name should be, let me put hello for the file name, and then .cxx. Okay, so it is very important to make sure that you didn't delete the .cxx. That is the file extension for the CXX droid. Okay, make sure to put .cxx at the end of the file name, and then save. Okay, so we should be able to start writing our program from here, but again, we're just going to delete these because we want it to start at the very beginning. Okay, so that is how you are going to start writing a program on your computer. Okay, so going back. Okay, again, to start using CXX Droid, here's the direction. You might want to pause this video so you can take a screenshot. All right. So now let's try creating our very first C++ program. Let's begin by writing a simple program that will display hello world on the screen. Write the following code. Okay, so you might want to take a screenshot. So this is going to be the codes that we are going to use. Later on, we will going to discuss each line of codes and see how they work and what that particular code is for. We're going to discuss the codes line by line later on. Okay. For now, let's just have an overview on how it should work. So let us open up the dev C++. Okay. So to start with, we are going to add. Hold on. Okay, we're just going to copy all of the codes that we have here on the screen. Please hold on. Okay, again, we are going to discuss the codes line by line later on, but for now, we are going to check whether our program is working. Okay, all right, so our program is now working. How do we know that it's working? Because we've got the console. This is the output of our program. So let's take a look at the codes. So basically, this is the code. Allow me to zoom it in. These are the code that we used, and this is the output. So by now you probably have an idea that C++ is just a very simple program, or basically since this is in introduction to computer programming course, we're just going to focus on the fundamental concepts on how the programming works. So it doesn't have any graphics and any complexity. It's just a bunch of codes. However, we know that our program worked because of this. This is the output. Okay, so if we're going to compare it to the screen, okay, it's like that. So we copy the same codes that we've displayed here and the output, same as with using our .c++. Here. Okay, so now let's discuss each line of these codes and see what is this all about. Okay, the first line is says include or hashtag or pound star. Okay, pound include IO stream. Okay, so what does it mean? What is that for? It includes the standard output and input and output library function. This is necessary so that our program is capable of receiving and displaying data. So the first line, the line number one, which is hashtag include IO stream, is responsible for catering input and output processes. So we will know more about input and output later on, but just to give you an idea, basically we just use an output to display hello world. Now, if we didn't include the hashtag include IO stream to our program, the hello world will not work. Okay, we will learn more about input and output later on. Next line is using namespace std. Okay, it sets any undeclared identifiers to default or using the standard library. Okay, so let's just say as we go along with the programming, we will learn about identifiers, and then basically we are going to declare variables and any other identifiers, and this particular code is useful so that whenever there are some identifiers that we didn't declare, the program or the compiler will automatically use the standard libraries. Again, we will learn more about libraries soon. Next is int main with open and close parentheses. It is the main function where the program execution begins. It is followed by curly brackets indicating the start and the end of the function. So basically, the int main is the start of the program. That is where the actual program or the functions of the program begin. So it is enclosed with curly brackets. So basically this part here, all that is inside the curly brackets are part of the main function. Again, everything that is inside the curly brackets, if you can see, int main with open and close parentheses, and after that, the open and close brackets. So everything that is inside these brackets are part of the main function. Okay, we will discuss the main function in more details later on. Next is two forward slashes, and then this program displays hello world on the screen. This is just a comment. It does not contribute on how the program works or display in the program execution. This is only used to keep programmers be guided writing long lines of codes. Again, this is only a comment. You can add this and it does not affect anything in the program. So let's try. That's right. So if you can see, we've included that this program displays hello world in the screen. Now if we're going to remove that and then save, and then let's try to run this, it is going to work just the same, because again, this is just a comment. It doesn't do anything with the program. This is only to here the result. Okay, it doesn't do anything with the program. It's just for the programmers to be guided, especially if they're already working with very long programs. At least they know what that particular code is for, because sometimes they will forget about the codes because of the numbers, or they're already working with very long lines of codes. Okay, next is the C out and then two open angle brackets, hello world. This is a command to display the hello world message on the screen. Basically, this is a syntax for output. So if you can remember the include IO stream a while ago, that we discussed a while ago, that is responsible, or that will allow the program to cater input and output functions. So since we are using an output function for our program to display the hello world, that's why we need the include IO stream. Okay, so the cout is basically the command that will allow us to display any text for our program. Okay, so that's it. And then lastly, we have the return 0. It tells the compiler that it is the end of the main function, thus terminating the program. So the return 0 will just tell the compiler to terminate or end the program, because it is already the end of the main function. So you can see, wala naman siya sunod. So that's why the program will stop. Now, if you can remember in our flowchart, there is start and there is finish, or there's an end. If you can remember with our past lesson about algorithm and flowchart. So this is the end. Okay. So if you noticed, most of the functions have semicolons in the end. Each line in the function must always end with a semicolon. It serves as a statement terminator. This means the compiler must proceed to the next line. So for example, since in the output command hello world, if you can see, there is a semicolon. That means there are no other codes or commands after this. That means the computer will tell the compiler to proceed to the next command, which is return 0. That means it's the end. So it's very important. Most of the common mistakes in beginner for beginner programmers, most of the common mistakes is they forgot to put semicolon at the end. That's why their program will not work. Okay, again, we will discuss that later on. All right, so to see if your program works, after you write it down, after you code the program, we need to compile and run it. What does it mean? We need to let the computer know that we are about to execute, or we are about to test whether our program will work. To do so, again, using dev C++, click the execute menu, select compile and run, or simply press the F11 key on your keyboard. That is for CXX Droid. For the dev C++, for the CXX Droid, simply tap the play icon at the bottom of the screen. So again, let's go back to dev C++ here. Right now, this is the dev C++ while we are working on it, while we are working on the code. To test whether this code is working, click execute and then compile and run. Okay, once we click that, the output will display. Again, let's close this. To test whether your system worked, click execute and then compile and run. Or we can just tap F11. Then it will automatically run the program. If the program does not have any errors, then the program will run. Okay, so in our case, our program is working perfectly since there are no errors that are displaying. So what happens? Let's say, for example, we're just going to deliberately make an error for our program. Let's try to remove the semicolon. So it will the compiler will now be confused as to what's going to happen next because there are no other functions or commands after the line. However, the line doesn't have any terminating object just yet. So obviously there will be the compiler will generate an error. So let's try to save and then execute and compile and run. Okay, so whenever the computer or the compiler generates an error, you will see it right here. So it says here that in line 7, unexpected. Okay, most of the time the compiler will tell you or the IDE will tell you what exactly went wrong. So expected semicolon before return. So it tells us to please put a semicolon before return. Okay, that's a good thing about using IDE because sometimes or most of the time it will tell you what's going to be what is the problem. So we've already put the semicolon back. Let's save it and let's try to run it again. And it worked. Okay. All right. So for CXX Droid, this is how you're going to test to see if it worked. Okay, so let's open up a program that I've already created. So let's say hello. Oh no. Okay, so I've already created a program previously. Let's test whether this will work. To test if it's working, just tap the play button at the bottom left or bottom right corner. You can see that here. And then, okay, hello world. So the program is working. So see, you can also use your phone to create a program. Okay, so if you wanted to practice on your own, you might want to pause this video and then take a screenshot. Then you can try it using your phone. Alright, so this is the code and this is the output. That is for the code and output using CXX Droid. Okay. Okay, so the next topic is going to be let us learn more about the output function, the one that we just used a while ago. So to display any data from the program, we will use a predefined object for output, cout. Okay, so basically the cout is a predefined object for output, or it is a command that will allow us to display or output any data coming from our program. So the data could be either text, numbers, paragraphs, so on and so forth. In our example, the cout object is used to display a single line of text, hello world. Diba? Let's go back. So we use the cout to display a text saying hello world. Now it's only one line. If you can see there, it is only a single line of text. Right? So how did we do that? First is we're going to type cout and then followed by 2 open brackets and then followed by the text. However, the text must be enclosed with double quotation marks. Here, the text is this is an output and then the text which is this is an outpost is enclosed with double quotation mark. And then don't forget the terminating object, which is the semicolon. Okay, again, let's try to check it one by one. So we have the object cout followed by the two open angle brackets, and then the text. The text is enclosed with double quotation marks. This is very important. Without the double quotation marks, it will not work. And then after that, we're going to put a semicolon. Let's go back. Okay, so let's try. We have cout, two angle brackets, and then hello world enclosed with a semicolon. So basically everything that you put inside the semicolon will display on the screen. So let's try. For example, we decided let's change this to I am inevitable. Okay, inevitable. All right. So let's save that and then let's run. Okay, so we have the output here, and it also changed to I am inevitable. Okay, so notice that the quotation mark are also gone because it will no longer be included on the output. The output, the display or the text that will be displayed will only be what is inside the double quotation marks. Okay, all right. So that is using output, or that is using cout to output a single line. So how about what if we are going to add multiple text? How do we do that? So in our example a while ago, we only use single line of text. So this time, let's try to create multiple lines of text. To do so, we will use another object called endl. That is endl. The endl is used to insert a new line of the output stream. To do so, put two open brackets after the text, then add the endl. And of course, end with a semicolon. There's also another way of inserting new line by putting a \n inside the text body. So there are two ways on how we can make multiple lines of text. So first, maybe you can ask, do we have to put these codes just to create another line of text? Yes. Here's what's going to happen. For example, what about if we're just going to copy this and then put it right here? Let's say I am Iron Man. Okay. So what's going to happen if we will not put any objects that will separate or that will add multiple lines within two multiple text lines of text? So let's save and then let's run. This is what's going to happen. Okay. All right, let's check what happened. So it says, I am inevitable, I am Iron Man. However, the two sentences are located, or basically are on the same line. Diba? Although we already put we put the I am Iron Man cout function at the bottom of the I am inevitable. However, the compiler still reads it in a single line. Okay, why? It's because the compiler in the C++ compiler, or basically the blank spaces. What are blank spaces? Mga space, kanang line breaks, kada bang enter ba? Will work just like a comment. It doesn't do anything with the program at all. So everything must be coded for it to work with programming. So how do we put the I am in Iron Man sentence at the bottom of I am inevitable? Again, we are going to use the endl function. So how do we do that? We can add the endl object. Again, add two angle brackets and then endl. Okay, so let's try that. Let's save, execute, and run. Okay. Okay. Look what happened now. Okay. So it separates the first line of text. Yeah, it separates both lines of text into two different lines. Okay. So that is the use of and L. We can also use another way is to put a backslash n after the text. However, instead of putting it outside the quotation mark, we are going to put it inside the quotation mark. So let's say, for example, this. Okay. So if we use we put the e and l outside the quotation mark, this time we will put the backslash n inside the quotation mark. So let's save and execute. Let's see what will happen. All right. Okay, it worked just the same. Okay, so this means you can add 100, or maybe you can add multiple lines. There are no limits as to how many lines you can put, so long as you put the right objects for displaying multiple lines of text. So let's say, for example, let's change this. For example, okay, we can use the end L. End L. We can use the slash n, a backslash n rather. Then let's add another lines of text. Let's say C out. What are we going to do? Okay, we are Avenger. All right. All right. So right now we have 3 lines of text. Let's see if how it's going to look like. Let's save, execute, compile, and run. All right. So it worked. Okay. So to review, how are we going to display a text using in C++? We will use the object called cout. So to do so, we will type the cout followed by 2 angle brackets and then the text. Now the text must be enclosed with 2 double quotation mark and then semicolon. However, if we're going to put multiple lines in the same function, we can either use the end L object. We're just going to put it outside the quotation mark and then followed by a semicolon, or we can use the backslash n, which should be inserted inside the semicolon. I'm sorry, inside the text body or inside the quotation mark. All right, so that is how you are going to use the C++ output. So the C++ output would be our very first function or command that we will learn in programming. And then as we go along with this class, we will learn more functions that we will use for us to get, for us to familiarize with, or for us to understand how the fundamental concepts of computer programming. So always remember to write a computer program using C++. You need to these 3 here must be included firsthand. So hashtag include IOStream using namespace std, int main followed with double quotation, and then the brackets. And then the bracket will contain the main functions. So always remember that. It should always be present to all of the programming, all of the C++ program, regardless what program are you going to create or going to build. These lines must always be included. Okay, the only thing that will differ are what is inside the main function. Okay, so that's it for today. If you have any question or concern, let you can follow the instruction that I given you a while ago. So you might want to take a screenshot to what we just did so you can practice it on your own. Okay, so for C++ output, we can also use cout to call out values of variables to perform more complex functionalities. It will be discussed in our next topic in the upcoming classes. Okay, so that's it for today. For your assessment, please fill up the form for today's class. So the link is displayed. You can copy this link or you can click um, this text as soon as we've uploaded it on our Facebook group. Deadline would be Friday, November 6, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. And then, of course, assignment, write a C++ program that will display the following text. Hi, my name is, and then your name, and then next line, I am your age, years old. Okay, and then next line, another line is I live in, and then your hometown. So example output here. For example, hi, my name is Julius R. Publico. I am 25 years old. I live in Ayungun. So make sure that these three lines or these three sentences are separated in three different lines. Now, how are you going to submit your assignment? Submit only the screenshot for the code and the result. That means parehane. So you're just going to take a screenshot of this code and then the screenshot of the output. And then submit it to our Google Classroom. Deadline would be Friday, November 6, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. Right, so that's all for today. If you have any question or concern, you can comment down below our Facebook on our Facebook group, or you can message me through my personal Facebook account. So that's all for today. Thank you. Keep safe and God bless.